It's not easy to give a piece of yourself to others, to make a small but significant change in another person's life. It is even harder to immortalize in an essay, in a mental picture, the life's work of Asia's great men and women who have selflessly dedicated themselves to bring about a new era of peace, development, and prosperity, even faced with challenging odds. To be our Monarch Saysay awardee requires tenacity, resilience, courage, and passion to be the change that you want to see in the world. In spite of what others may think of you or what you're doing, in this day and age when our fellow youth have gone apathetic and jaded at the state that our world is in, you all have provided a breath of fresh air. The UN World Food Program, who I now represent here in the Philippines as its National Ambassador, is the world's largest humanitarian organization, and our task is basically to feed the hungry. It's a hard thing for a fellow Filipino that in this day and age to see, in this day and age of fast food chains at every corner and the abundance of food, that hunger could still occur in our own backyard. When I took a visit to Mindanao, to the little pockets of Mindanao, the war-affected areas, nagulat talaga ako na, and I always say this to journalists who are able to tell the story, na marami pa rin pala nagugutom at namamatay dahil sa gutom. More children die of hunger than TB, AIDS, and malaria combined. And if you're hungry, how can you even fight disease? In conflict-affected Mindanao, 64% of the families cannot access enough food to meet their minimum needs, and 38% of children are malnourished. 42% of the population risk the deterioration of their life and health if their food needs are not addressed. And families struggling with the rising prices of food and fuel are making it very hard for them. And are making it, because of that, they are making really tough choices. Cutting meals, eating less nutritious food, or taking their kids out of school because they are no longer able to pay school fees. These children, who are like younger brothers and sisters to me, live every day faced with the predicament of going to school with fear in their hearts and literal emptiness in their stomach. 59 million children around the world face the same challenge of going to school hungry, and every 5 seconds of this speech and of this event, a child is dying of hunger. On an empty stomach, they cannot concentrate, so they learn even less. They would never be here right now. Maybe in the position of some of you, they would never experience that. In simple terms, these poor and hungry children who live in the same country that we do have less chances to make the most of their lives and to make the most of what the world has to offer. Who knows how many scientists, doctors, statesmen, musicians, artists, development workers, wonderful people, athletes, writers, the Ramon Magsaysay awardees, we may have already lost because their bodies and minds have been dulled by malnutrition. It's so basic. Hunger is the most basic need, and I can't believe that so many people in our country especially are still facing that. Let me tell you a short story about a fellow WFP ambassador to illustrate how much of a great help it is to take part in providing children comfort and hope daily by way of a simple meal. If I were to have submitted an essay to this contest, I would have written about a fellow WFP ambassador and Ramon Magsaysay laureate herself, the good princess, as I fondly call her, Her Royal Highness Maha Surindor. During tours of the Thai countryside, the princess noticed that rural children often seem physically underdeveloped and malnourished, and so this made her create 3 schools, a lunch program where parents would help cook the meals, and teachers would teach pupils to plant schoolyard vegetable gardens. Surindor's project provided tools and seeds for them. and to prepare healthy and tasty meals each lunchtime. In Mindanao, Muslims and Christians have come together, and communities are encouraging peace because they are working together to provide school meals to children. And I witnessed that, and I'm really happy that I've been able to work with the WFP. Anyhow, within months of joining WFP as one of its Goodwill Ambassadors, Her Royal Highness Princess Leonor was supporting the agency's effort to provide emergency food aid to schools and multiply these food for education activities along the southern coast of Thailand, which was badly hit by the December 2004 tsunami. She remains a living legacy of how the WFP and the Ramon Magsaysay Awards are supporting the work of people that could change the world. I personally am inspired by the UN team that I work with. Journalists always ask me kung natatakot ako dahil, especially with the recent kidnapping of a very high-profile reporter. And frankly, I do admit that I get scared and I do feel fear every time I go visit Mindanao. But the moment that I admit that to myself, I take a look at my colleagues in the UN and see how much passion they have, how much energy they have for this work, how much they believe in that work, how much they themselves are inspired by other UN teams around the world. And it is because of that that I understand right away why I am here despite the dangers of this work. We are part of a beautiful and bigger picture in everything that we do. And it should be considered an honor to be used as tools, as the writers today are open and do welcome the idea that they are being used as a tool. People will read your essays and will be inspired by them. The loss of talent caused by hunger and malnutrition is recognized by the United Nations as probably the biggest threat to economic and social development. And I can think of no better investment in peace, prosperity, justice, environmental sustainability, and health than providing children in our country, like my brothers and sisters in conflict-affected Mindanao, with food and education. Our world leaders have pledged to halve the number of hungry people, especially young boys and girls like us, by the year 2015, and that's only 7 years from now. We are nowhere near that target. But I am nothing but positive, determined, and energetic about the work that we do and can still do. Knowing that these awards, the Ramon Magsaysay Awards, recognizes excellence in governance, science, the arts, and public service, can only renew my hope that we can end poverty in our generation. And that the only legacy that we will leave to our brothers and sisters is a world of peace and prosperity and inspiration. With today's opportunity to speak to all of you, probably don't write as well as you do, but I'm very happy to be here and to see that we've done more than embark on a journey towards a better world. And we all have our own views of what a better world is like, but we all basically have a general idea. Thank you for immortalizing the work of greatness, making known to fellow Filipinos and the youth around the world, not just in our country, how important it is to be the change that you want to see and to be the change that you want the world to be. Thank you, everyone. Congratulations. I wish all of you and your families the very best that life has to offer. Don't forget to help your community and continue inspiring them and your country in everything that you do. Always take risks, make mistakes. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, but also learn quickly. And always draw inspiration from others, because that's what will keep you going when you lose hope, when you're depressed, when you don't believe in yourself as much as others believe in you. You might be surprised if in the end, there is someone out there who has accomplished more than he himself expected of himself, because you inspired him too. Thank you.